Hey everybody, my name's Emily Gibson. I'm a Diamond Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide.
And I'm Brooke Hemingway, and I'm also a Diamond Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide.
Today we are here to teach you about something that we have learned from other experts in the industry of social media marketing on how to develop leaders and what we have been doing and seeing success with on our teams using these methods. So we hope that you'll be able to take something from what we have to share with you today, how we are running them, how we are seeing them to be effective so that you can give those to your teams and also see success with them.
So we're going to talk specifically about having weekly accountability calls, and we're going to share an accountability sheet that we created also with the help of Tara Castaneda, another Diamond Ambassador. This was kind of our little brainchild as far as this accountability sheet. Now, the purpose of accountability calls is to be able to bring people together that are committed to growing their business, that really want this opportunity, but they need to be held accountable. Let's face it, everybody needs to be held accountable. I need to be held accountable. Emily needs to be held accountable. Whether you're a silver ambassador or a diamond ambassador, the one thing that will help you to be successful and grow your business is to have accountability in those daily and weekly activities that actually help you to build your business. So Emily, why don't you talk a little bit about how you invited your team members to this call?
So the most important thing is that you do this on the phone. This is not a text message. This is not a Facebook message. This is a call them on the telephone message. And we are talking 10 minutes. So when are you getting that delay on there?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So when you call them, you're going to say, hey, are you dead serious about your business being successful? And if they say yes, you say, great, are you sure? And if they say yes twice, then you know you have the person who you want to have in this group with you, because you only want people who are 110% committed and ready to give you the effort that it takes to be accountable. You don't want someone that says, well, except for this one thing, right? And so you want to make sure that their actions are matching their words. And that was really, really hard for me, because there are a lot of people on my team that I want it more than they actually want it for themselves. And so when you ask them those two questions, if their answers are not definitively yes and yes, then you need to understand that you need to put your focus on someone else who can answer yes and yes. And it was a really painful question for me to ask one person in particular who couldn't answer me yes and yes. And I wanted to go cry and curl up into the fetal position because I just wanted it so badly for them, you know?
Yeah.
So in that conversation, again, 10 minutes long, I explained to them, hey, we're going to be doing these accountability calls. And when we do them, it's going to be, 5 minutes of this in the beginning, then 5 to 7 minutes of this, then 5 to 7 minutes of this, and then closing with this. And Brooke's going to go over that in a minute. But basically telling them the layout of what the calls are going to look like, letting them know that the expectation is that you're going to be there every single week without fail. And if you are going to miss, within a 4-month time period, you can miss 2 times, because we understand, people get sick, they have things that come up. So within that 4-month time span, you can have 2 absences. And on those 2 absences, the morning of, I still need you to message me before and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. This is one of my 2 absences. Here's my accountability sheet. I've filled it out for you already. Because even though you might be missing class, you are not going to miss being accountable to yourself. And if that happens, let's say you miss and you don't tell me, I'm going to call you the next morning and say, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Because remember how we talked that you were going to let me know ahead of time, and you're going to hold them accountable. And because you're telling them this on the phone, they know what the expectation is. So there's not going to be any surprise when you call them. And then if they say, well, I just was really tired, then you say to them, listen, you told me that you were dead serious about making this happen. I said, are you sure? You said yes. And your actions right now are showing me that maybe something has changed. It's okay if something has changed, but has something changed? And then you give them that opportunity to be honest with you. And if that happens more than 2 times, this is what I say to them. I say, then we just know that this is not the right time for you to join this group, and we just won't have you be on the call with us. But I just, just to preserve the integrity of the group. So it's really important that you communicate that up front when things are not sensitive and emotional and in the moment, so that when they do become sensitive and emotional and in the moment, that you have something to go off of and say, remember when we talked, right? You said that this was your desire, because it's not me hounding you. You told me you wanted me to help you become accountable. So that's all that we're doing here, is holding people accountable to themselves. But you have to have that phone message with them to make sure that they understand that this is the expectation, this is what it's going to be. And if this doesn't meet this, then to preserve the integrity of the call, I like to use that language, then we won't have you join us moving forward until the timing is right for you, or you can make that commitment again in the future. And of course, we'd love to have you back with us when that happens. And I think it's really important to use positive verbiage like that. Wouldn't you say, Brooke?
Yeah, I think the main thing is to remember that, this is not about guilting anybody or shaming them for not committing to the call. If it's not the right thing for them right now, this is not the call that they should be on, and that's okay. You're just releasing them and letting them know it's all right. When you're ready to commit and you can come back, we would love to have you back. And I think that in this profession, especially because a lot of us are women, we kind of shy away from this sort of accountability because we don't want to be mean, and we look at it as being mean, and we don't want to make people feel bad. But when we do that, we are not rising up leaders. And the purpose of these calls is to help raise up leaders that can then raise up their own leaders. And so to be a leader, you have to be accountable. And even us as leaders participating in the calls, we fill out the sheets. We hold ourselves to the same standard of accountability because we want them to see that we also are doing those activities that we're asking them to do. And so if you never have any sort of expectation or accountability, how can you then expect your team to be growing their businesses? It is essential to have accountability and and for people to have expectations of themselves. And really this call is to help them to learn how their business is growing. It's a sheet that's showing them, okay, this is how my business is growing. These are who I'm contacting. These are the relationships I'm forming. So it's putting it all out there so that they can see how to grow their business. And they are in a group of 5 to 10 people is really what you want to aim for. You don't really want more than 5 to 10 people. You want it to feel intimate. You want it to be a comfortable, safe space where people can share what's going on. In my calls, sometimes what I'll do is we start the first 5 to 10 minutes going around sharing some of our stats from the sheet. And then after that, I'll have somebody or maybe 2 people share something from the week. Maybe it was a message that really worked for them. Sometimes it's a positive affirmation that they're using, and they'll explain that and how it's helping them in their life. Sometimes it's a particular challenge that someone is having. And what we do is we acknowledge that challenge, but then together as a group, we share ideas for overcoming because we are creating solutions. We're not focusing on the problem. And that is a very important concept of this call, is no negativity. This is a no negativity zone. It is completely fine to acknowledge a problem, but you acknowledge it and then you come up with a solution instead of staying stuck. Because again, we're teaching our team members to be leaders. And as a leader, you have to be a problem solver. So that's kind of how the call flows. We have some people on the call share some of their aha moments, maybe a win or something that they're struggling with. And then we'll have maybe a 5 to 10 minute teaching segment. And that teaching segment can be done by you as a leader or can be done by somebody else that's on the call that has something really great that you're like, you know what, Emily, could you teach that on our call this week? Because that was really incredible. And I think everybody in the group could benefit from it. And by involving them in the call, you're giving them a voice. And again, you're helping them to become a leader. Because truly the goal of this call is to then have them grow and change and take this call to their team and do their own accountability weekly calls with their ambassadors. I know that Emily and I both have 2 groups. We have a group that's silver and golds that are working towards ruby, and then we have a group of senior golds and rubies that are, maybe a little bit more on the fast track that are working towards emerald. And what happens is once you achieve a certain level, you can graduate into the next call. And then once you're a jewel, you can graduate into the jewel call, because we also have a jewel call for our jewels in our team. And so that's the concept behind the call. Did you want to talk any more specifics on the call, Emily?
I think the biggest aha moment that I had with this is such a powerful tool for duplication for us as leaders. Because basically what you're doing is you're putting your half an hour, they are no longer than 30 minutes. These calls are 30 minutes. I literally cut myself off right in the middle of a sentence sometimes to say, our time is up. I'll see you next week. And I hit end on my Zoom call, because it's so important that you hold yourself accountable that these are only going to be 30 minutes long. So 30 minutes of your time to work with 5 to 10 people that really want it, who are all struggling with the same problems, the same obstacles in their business. And so when you're able to do that, you're becoming a more powerful leader. You're giving yourself more time freedom. And at the same time, you are giving them opportunities to be leaders within their group and understand that everyone's going through the same things at the same time. They're not alone. It gives this feeling of unity. So it's really empowering you as a leader. It's empowering them as a leader, and it's making everybody's time more useful.
Absolutely. And so we're going to show you this sheet really quick. And one other point I want to make is that when people come to the call, if they come one week and they are utterly unprepared, do you think they're ever going to come again unprepared? No. It's that positive peer reinforcement. They know, okay, everybody else is prepared. Everybody else is doing their IPA. They're doing their work. They're getting a customer. They're getting an ambassador. And I'm showing up and I haven't done anything. It puts that feeling in them like, oh my gosh, I have got to rise to the occasion. And it makes them rise to the occasion and hold themselves to a standard. So we're going to go ahead and share this form with you, and you do not have to use the same form. Tara, Emily, and I came up with these different segments on the form. You can create your own thing. It doesn't have to look like this. Basically, we want them to treat this as a business, not a hobby. And so over here, we're having them pay attention to these numbers that have to do with their business. Current PV, OV, the number of customers they got this week, the number of level ones, how many new ambassadors total on their team for the week and for the month. We would like them to pay attention to their convenience order rate, which is now a subscription. You can change that. The percentage or the number of new contacts and friends that they've made in the week, and then have they messaged those new friends or contacts. The number of messages they've sent this week, and then how many follow-ups they've sent. So we want them to actually be tracking these things. At the top, we want to know, gosh, what is your weekly goal and what is your next week's goal? Because we want to teach them to look into the future, to set those future forward-thinking goals, and then also their big, scary goal for the month. Over here, we have them for the week list their top 3 leaders or their dream teamers. Now, this might change every week, right, Emily?
Yes, I every single week, I don't know about you, but for me personally, one week I'll have one person that's all in, all committed, and then next week I'm like, where'd you go? Where's my girl? Where'd you go? She went on vacation, or like, what's going on? And so you're writing down your people that are engaged this week, and you're putting a date on it, and you're saving these in a binder. So your people in this group are also going to have a binder, and they're going to save it each and every week.
Yep.
And also I want to point out, I am not good at making graphics like this. So following John Maxwell's training of lean in where you're strong and hire out where you're not, I had an amazingly talented ambassador on my team. I reached out to her, Kara Allen, and she created this for us. So find someone on your team that's good at doing this stuff. And if this is not your forte, don't spend hours creating something like this. Brainstorm and then get someone to make it and create your vision, or copy ours, whichever is best for you.
Exactly. Don't reinvent the wheel. Like, have somebody that loves to do this stuff do it. So you're going to put for that week who your top 3 leaders are, or if there's someone you're thinking about that would be a dream team, or you can put them here. Now the boxes underneath are really for taprooting, and taprooting is that concept that you're going to reach through these level 1s and work with your level 2s that are strong. Now if you've never done that, we want to encourage you to do that, because sometimes you will find some amazing level 2s that can really increase the strength of your business, and they can actually help to motivate those level 1s, because the level 1s usually have this fear of missing out, and they decide, okay, I've got a couple rock stars here, maybe I should work this business and I should do this. So that's what these boxes are for. Over here we have them fill out if they've done 3-way calls or 3-way messages with their own prospects or with their level 1 prospects. Down here is who did you mentor this week, because we're teaching them that they need to then transfer their knowledge to their team members. To be a true leader, they need to at least be mentoring somebody each week. Also, personal growth and development is so important. We want to know what they did for personal growth and development. When you start these accountability calls, you might recommend a book list. You might recommend a playlist of videos that can help with personal growth and development. But we are ingraining in them that they do need to every single week be doing something for personal growth and development. Down here is intentional prospecting and relationship building. This is crucial, guys. We want to be training our teams to intentionally prospect to people that they want on their team, people that they know would be great business builders, people that need the products, instead of just haphazardly posting on Facebook, teaching them to create their friends list, teaching them to reach out specifically to certain people. And then also relationship building. These are the people that you're just starting to build that relationship with. Maybe you haven't yet transitioned to talking about Plexus. You're getting to know each other, but they're coming into your funnel. They're coming into your funnel. We want to know also one example of a message that worked well for them. These are great for sharing in the group call, for giving ideas to help people see there are different ways to ask for the same thing. And then, how did you create a positive mindset in your business and team? Again, very important. Goes back to that personal growth and development. Maybe it's a video they shared with their team. Maybe it's an article they shared. Maybe it's a passage or a quote that they shared with their team. And then positive affirmations. We want to know their personal positive affirmation for the week. Does not have to have anything to do with the business. And then also their business positive affirmation for the week. And so this is the sheet. You're not going to have time for everybody to go through every single box on every call. You're going to pick 3 or 4. That's what I do. Is that what you do, Emily?
I just like to hear if they've enrolled any preferred customers, any ambassadors, how many 3-way messages they did, and if any enrollments came from that. And we just buzz through it. Yep. And then we go straight to share a win for the week, share a challenge, do a training, and then we end. So yep. It's pretty, and then if anyone does, we all do silent clapping to applaud them if they did get it. So everyone in the screen is doing this, everyone's on mute, but we're all doing this if they got an enrollment, just to celebrate that success and growth in your team.
Awesome. Positive reinforcement. Yeah, we basically go over the same thing. We do talk about what their weekly goal is, but that's about it. And then I do look over all these sheets. I have them send it to me by noon of the day of the call, and then I look over them, and that's what you can do. And then you'll find these little areas like, I want them to explain that positive affirmation, or I want them to share that message, or I'll message them back and I'll say, hey, can you tell me a little bit about this personal growth and development you did this week? And that's how I get the content for the call, or I'll get the content like Emily from something that I've read in a great book. So that is how to run your accountability calls. I know without a doubt these are going to be amazing for our businesses and for your businesses. This is the way that you train people to take their business seriously, to grow their business, to be a legacy company, to grow up strong, impactful leaders. And I'm really excited about this concept, and I know Emily is too.
Yeah, it's going to be so great, and we hope you have a great experience just like we are now.
All right, thanks, guys.